Hello and welcome to the UCAS Choices podcast. I'm Katie Thistleton and I'm back with a really special episode and at a very special location. I'm in Woking, about 40 minutes outside of central London at the McLaren Technology Centre, which is this huge glass building overlooking a lake, and it is a dream location for fans of Formula One. There's a real buzz about the place today, especially because yesterday McLaren won the Formula One Constructors' Championship. And of course, our very own Lando Norris became the World Drivers' Champion for the very first time. So why am I here? Well, UCAS have been invited to meet the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, to talk about his plans to help future talent get ready for the world of work and to launch their careers. We're sitting down to talk about skills, apprenticeships, higher education, and the many different choices available. First, let's hear from some of the apprentices here at McLaren.
Hi, my name is Ali Mortaza. I'm a degree apprentice here at McLaren Automotive, and I study at London South Bank University.
Hi, I'm a graduate engineer. My name's Monica Pires. I studied at the University of Leicester. I did aerospace engineering and now I'm on the graduate scheme for 2 years.
So the best thing about an apprenticeship is that just all the hands-on work that you're able to do in the workplace. So me as an apprentice, I was able to work directly with the cars. I've helped design parts that are on the car right now for the up-and-coming hypercar. And yeah, it's super amazing stuff.
The best thing about being a graduate is just you get stuck in right from day one. You're not sort of given little tasks here and there. They treat you like a member of the team right from the day one, and you get all the responsibilities and of course the rewards that go along with it as well. So you feel like you're really contributing to something real, and then you get to see your work on the car. So it's a really amazing opportunity. So I went to University of Leicester. I did aerospace engineering, master's degrees, 5 years. I got involved in Formula Student, a student-led competition where we build Formula One style race cars and race them at Silverstone. A lot of engineering students and students interested in STEM tend to pick this up as a side project, and that sort of is where I gained all my technical and soft skills as well. And I think that's what sort of helped me to get here today.
So my experience at university, I feel like it's been very typical for a university student, where I have lectures just as any other university student would. And as an engineer, I have computer labs, tutorials, but I also have plenty of time to socialize, meet a bunch of new people, meet a bunch of new students, and just align with my professors. And it's super interesting to see all the different backgrounds that they come from and all the kind of technical exposure that they have as well.
I've been lucky enough to be in 3 different departments. So I've worked in the systems teams, advanced engineering, and now PMO. So the project management side of things, so the day-to-day sort of helping the engineers get their parts released, making sure the program's running smoothly, making sure all parts are procured and released on time for VP build. My advice for students figuring out what they want to do is honestly try everything, even if it's a 1 week or 2 week work experience, even if it's not in a field that you don't think you'd particularly be interested in. It's also good to know that you're not going to be interested in something. So definitely, if anything comes up, just try your hand at it, research a lot, find out about what specific roles are. Honestly, just reaching out and doing a lot of research is going to be really useful to help guide you in the right direction.
Don't stick with something that you don't like. It's better to understand that this is something not for you and leave than to stick with it.
I wasn't much of a Formula One fan before. I did something called Formula Student, so that's sort of where I got my interest in these Formula style cars, and then obviously having the opportunity to be here and sort of seeing the legacy of the McLaren cars here right through all the years, that's definitely, I can say that I'm a fan now, for sure. Yeah.
I am a big Formula One fan, loved it.
Now, before we sit down with the PM, just a little reminder that if you're thinking about your future career and learning options, then why don't you check out the UCAS website? It's absolutely brilliant. UCAS is basically here to help you make sense of all the choices out there, whether that's university, college, apprenticeships or other routes. It's about thinking about what matters to you and seeing that there are loads of different options out there. There's more than one way to reach your goals, so you can make the right choice for you. Prime Minister, thank you for your time today.
Not at all.
I've been told I can call you Keir.
You can call me Keir. It's worked all my life
Fantastic.
pretty well. I've been called a
Fantastic.
lot worse, but Keir will do.
Well, I'm Katie. You can call me Katie.
Katie.
First of all, incredible that we're here at McLaren on a very exciting day. I know you've been round and spoken to some of the apprentices here. Can you tell me a little bit about what you've seen today, what work they're doing?
Well, firstly, what a day to be here. Lando winning yesterday, and I don't know whether you saw the interview
I did.
that he did afterwards, but it was really emotional. And I was struck by the fact that he thanked the whole of the team, and you can feel the lift here amongst the workforce because they're doing incredible work. We walked around the production line here, and you have to do this firsthand. You can't read a briefing and understand the skill, the technique, and the sheer ability that goes into the work that's happening here. And that's why I wanted to come here to talk about apprenticeships, because they do a lot of apprenticeships here. A lot of the people that we've been talking to are apprentices here. And it really makes the case to make sure that apprentices and apprenticeships are valued equally with going to college, going to university. But you only have to spend half an hour with some of the apprentices here, see the skill and dedication, and you realise it's just as difficult, just as skilled, just as valuable, and should be just as valued as going to university any day of the week. We did have a target for many years that 50% of young people should go to university. That worked well, and I'm not knocking it, particularly as someone who went to university first in my extended family. But we've now taken that target down and put up a different target, which is 2/3 of young people to go either to university or to a gold standard apprenticeship. And that's exactly to tilt it and make sure there's equal value.
Demand often outweighs supply. That's something we find.
Yes.
How can employers play a bigger role in creating more opportunities here?
Well, I think we need to encourage employers to take on apprenticeships and give them the support to do so. And we're able to put in funding to help small businesses in particular with the funding of the training element of apprenticeships. So that is a help. Championing apprentices and making sure that we're highlighting the particular skills that are going to be needed in order to get young people in to do the apprenticeships is really, really important.
AI seems to be changing jobs very quickly. Is that something you've thought about here, and how can young people feel that they are going to have the skills that they need for the future with that landscape changing so fast?
Look, AI is going to be a game changer. There's no doubt about that, as will technology. But if you take, McLaren's quite a good example, because this has been cutting edge technology for years. And every year the technology goes one step further. And as I walked through to address some of the apprentices, you walk past all the old Formula One cars that they've had over the years. And some that are only 10 or 15 years ago do look like yesterday's cars already. But that hasn't led to a smaller workforce or to a less skilled workforce. On the contrary, it's a bigger workforce. So I think that AI and technology will change the nature of jobs, but I also think there'll be just as many jobs, and the skills will be different. And AI, in a way, will make us all more human, because AI will do the bits that we don't necessarily need humans to do, leaving the humans to do the other bit. But yes, they'll change the jobs. But in a place like this, technology is changing the jobs year after year. They have to, because otherwise they don't keep ahead.
Something else that we hear from young people is that mental health is a really big concern for them. If someone is struggling, how will these plans make sure they can still find work or get support whilst they're studying or working?
Yeah, we do need to look at mental health, particularly for young people. I think there's a mixture of things going on here. I think we better understand mental health than we did. That is a good thing. I think young people talk about mental health more than they did, and that is a good thing. I think we need a step back when it comes to mental health to ask ourselves a pretty fundamental but important question, which is, if a young person has mental health issues, is it better to, on the one hand, support them into work and study, notwithstanding any mental health issues, or two, take them down the welfare benefit route? I passionately believe the first route is the right one. And I don't think at the moment that the priorities are all lined up to support that. But I do think it's time for a big discussion about mental health in young people. There's a lot of young people who are neither in employment nor education or apprenticeships. Too many, nearly 1 million. And that is not good. And we need to address that. Part of what we're doing today with the 50,000 apprenticeships will help. The youth guarantee that we were setting out just the other day is really important as well, where we invest in young people more and give them a real chance. But I don't think we can walk past this issue. We've got to do something about it.
Another issue that we find is that lots of people can't find apprenticeships in their area. What's your plan to make sure opportunities aren't just in big cities or for people who've got connections?
We need to make it easier for people, young people, but not only young people, to find and match the apprenticeships. And part of the announcement today is to give money to mayors, where there's a mayor, to do the link up between young people and the apprenticeships that actually exist on their patch.
Now, lots of us feel torn between following what we love and following what's going to pay well and perhaps, suit our lifestyle, something that seems quite safe. That's the dilemma I think that most people come across when they're deciding what to do. Imagine if you're deciding whether you want to be Prime Minister or not, that's quite a big
Well, no, I mean,
dilemma.
back in the day when I was in my son's shoes, so when I was 17, I was very interested in politics, but my parents said, no, you need to get a proper job.
I imagine.
And that's why they tilted me towards law, because for them, a good, well-paid job as a lawyer was a far better route than going into politics in their book.
How do you think that, I can understand that. How do you think people should balance the passion and the practical skills when they're planning their futures?
I think you've got to try and bring the two together.
I mean, you're an example of not listening to your parents then. I mean, you did.
Well, eventually. I mean, I followed their route for a long time, but then eventually did the step across. But I think, just in answer to the question, if you talk to the apprentices here, they are loving what they do. So, and they're different. I mean, they're not all on the production line. So some of them are skilled engineers, some of them are in procurement, some of them in cyber. So different skills, but they're loving being at work because it captures the spark that interests them. So ideally, but it won't. This doesn't happen for everybody. Ideally, trying to find an apprenticeship or a degree course, depending which route people go down, that matches what you're passionate about is really important, and will usually bring the best out of people. And you can see they love coming to work. They love being in this workplace, and that
especially today.
Yeah, especially today. But that's uplifting and good for them and the team.
Finally, we hear a lot about how tough the job market is right now, and this announcement comes at the same time as challenges around costs of living. What practical support can people expect to receive?
More linked in a way, or more directly linked to apprenticeships, is the minimum wages that have been increased, and therefore there's more money coming in the first place. But we must never lose sight of the fact that the cost of living is the number one issue across the country, and therefore it's important the government pulls every lever we can to take the pressure off the cost of living for families across the country.
And you're hoping that the Youth Guarantee will help with that?
Oh, it will, yes. But more than that, it will also, I hope, give young people that sort of stepping stone at the early part of their lives. They can go on, and they will go on. I mean, the apprentices here will go on to be full-time employees here, and some of them will go on into management and will be soon running the business, and a good thing too. And that will happen at every level.
Prime Minister, thank you very much for your time today.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Listening to my chat with the Prime Minister was Dr. Joe Saxton, CBE, who runs UCAS. Well, Dr. Joe, we are doing our interview inside the McLaren Artura, which I'm told is a car that apprentices in this factory are working on right now. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's just amazing. And I think the paintwork, we've heard a lot today from the Prime Minister about the incredibly skilled paintwork that the apprentices have done, and it just looks and feels amazing.
What stood out to you, Joe, in particular, from what the Prime Minister said in our interview just then?
Well, his passion is really clear from the experience that he had through his own dad, but also the fact that his son is interested in an apprenticeship. But actually, his son sounds like the majority of the young people who come to us at UCAS, and they want to know, should I be thinking about apprenticeship or university? And what I would say to them is, it doesn't have to be that choice. I think things are so much more fluid than they used to be. And of course, the majority of apprenticeships are involved with and provided with universities and colleges. So it doesn't have to be this binary choice.
Mm-hmm. What are you hoping to see then when you're working with students, at UCAS? What are you hoping that next year, when young people are applying for university or apprenticeships, whatever it may be, the difference will be from what we've seen before?
Well, we know young people would like to have more choices where they live, and at the moment the majority of apprenticeships are not available to young people. They're principally taken up by older people. So what we hope is that there'll be more opportunity for younger people, and certainly the universities that we work with are really keen to get involved in doing more degree apprenticeships and more local skills partnerships in terms of there being a richer rounder offer.
Joe, what's your advice to anyone listening to this right now who's about to embark on that journey?
Well, come to UCAS. On our website, we've got everything you need to know about all of your choices. We've got virtual experience of apprenticeships, we've got virtual experiences of university and all of the different courses, and we've got all the tools that you need to pursue your future. So come to UCAS is my main piece of advice.
Great advice. Can we keep this card, you reckon?
I hope so.
Thank you so much to Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, to Joe from UCAS, and to the apprentices here at McLaren today. Don't forget to head to the UCAS website or check out our socials for loads of advice and guidance on what to do next. You can explore university study, higher technical qualifications and apprenticeships, as well as get a taste of different industries, subjects and careers, so you can make the right choice for you. Thanks so much for listening, and good luck with everything. It's a really exciting time.